Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Abundant and Aligned podcast. I just put a post on Instagram and it said, "You are the cause of all of the problems in your business, and that is the best news ever." And it made me think it's time for us to sit down and do a refresher episode about what actually happens when you manifest outcomes in your business. This conversation, everything I share in my world, is not just a woo-woo opinion that I have. Everything is backed by science, specifically neuroscience, quantum physics, and the very fact that surrounding your body right now is a measurable energetic field that is manipulating the energy around you. And as I mentioned, it's been a little while since we've sat down and just had a class, a lesson on these things, because my number one priority in my business, within the brand, is for you to be educated on how much power you actually have. And I do take a scientific viewpoint when it comes to manifestation and the creation of matter. And because manifestation is such a trending topic at the moment, which I absolutely love, often it can get blurred with the spiritual viewpoint, which I do dip my toes in, but there is science behind everything I say. Thoughts do create things, and yeah, I always just want to educate you on what that actually means, like what's actually happening in your brain. How does that influence your energy? What do you mean everything is energy in your reality? I really just want you guys to have all of the facts, because knowledge is power. And when you know these things, you very quickly realize how unlimited your potential really is in your business. The moment I learned the concepts that we are going to go over today, my entire life changed. I've shared this a lot within the brand. I had a network marketing business when I first decided to leave my career in law, and I worked for 2 years so hard to grow that business, and it never really took off. Financially, I don't think I ever made more than $1,000 a month, and if I did, that was very, very rare. But that the results that I was seeing did not make sense because of how hard I was working. I was selling the products, I was talking about the business, I was on Instagram and on TikTok, and I had the no, I did not have the podcast, but I was on YouTube. Like, I was everywhere. I was doing in-person events, I was doing Instagram lives. Like, I was working so hard, and so it just didn't make sense to me why I wasn't seeing the desired results that I wanted to, until I learned everything that I'm going to share with you today or reshare with you today. And really, I just did not have the neural pathways, the subconscious program, the energetic field to create the results that I wanted. My entire program and my wiring was creating lack, and that's why I was seeing lack in my reality. So get your notebook out, take, like, literally pay attention to this episode, because if this is the first time you've heard manifestation spoken about in this way, or you are aware that thoughts create things and that you are creating the problems in your business, but you're not really sure how, then this episode is just going to absolutely blow you away. So I want to start first with your brain. So as I've mentioned, the creation of matter is a neurological thing that's happening. You have components in your brain, but essentially your brain gets programmed over time to decide or determine what's important to you. And what it deems important is whatever is familiar to your brain. So if growing up, struggle, getting paid a salary, working for someone else was the normal, that is more familiar for your brain. And so what could be happening in your business is your brain is deleting information from your conscious awareness that would grow your business, because you didn't grow up in a family where you were programmed to do what you now want to do, and therefore your brain just doesn't see it as important to your survival and to your safety. So your brain is number one. We need to rewire your brain to be and feel familiar with the desired life and the business outcomes that you want. And the way that we go about this is by firstly deciding what you want to create. What are those desired outcomes? Remembering we must focus on what you want, not what you don't want. which quickly going back when I was in my first business, so much of my thoughts were consumed with what I didn't want. I didn't want to be in my job. I didn't want to be broke. I didn't want to work for someone else. And I was thinking about what I didn't want, which is why I just kept creating more of what I didn't want. So you must decide, what do you want, and always frame that desire in a positive way, focusing on what it is that you actually want, the desired outcome, not the things that you don't want. So coming up with that specific outcome and knowing what that is in that positive statement, and then focusing on it. When you focus on it, it provides what we call salience to your brain. Essentially, you're saying to your brain, this thing that I want, this income, this business success, these clients, they are important to us. And because they are important to us, direct my conscious attention to it. And when you provide salience to the brain, when your brain knows something is of importance to you, it will stop deleting it as unnecessary and start drawing your conscious awareness to it. And this is a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. Now, we all know that when we want a new car, suddenly we see that car all over the road. That car has always been there, but because your brain didn't think that car was important, it was deleting it from your conscious awareness. Now you've provided salience to the brain that the car is important, and suddenly it's starting to show your consciousness the information is there. The car is on the road. So we get to use this incredible part of our brain to our advantage in our business, but we must know those things. It must be in a positive statement. You must be focusing on what you want, and you must become obsessed with what you want so that you can show the brain this is important to us, so that the brain can start to show you the information that is out there. Just quickly on what I mean by show you the information, your brain processes billions of bits of information every single day. But of course, if you were consciously aware of every bit of information, so every sound, everything you see, everything you feel, everything you touch and smell, and all of that, if you were aware of that information, can you imagine how overwhelmed you'd be? You literally could not function. So what your brain does is runs that information. It is noticing it, but it runs it through a filter system. And that filter system has been created throughout your lifetime based on things you got told and experienced and believed. And so all of the information that your brain consumes, the billions of bits of information, go through this filter system. And essentially the filter system is this important to us, or is this not important to us? Or is this safe, or is this a threat? And essentially whatever is safe or is a threat will depend on whether it's familiar. And this is why people get in the trap of manifesting so much of what they don't want, and they get confused because they consciously don't want it, but because that is familiar to their brain, because the struggle has always been there, the chaos has always been there, the lack has always been there, the brain thinks it's important. And so it just keeps consuming the information or allowing information about lack and scarcity to enter your conscious awareness. And that's why you may feel like everywhere you look and everything you listen to is about lack and scarcity. It's because that's the only information your brain is letting in, because it's familiar and therefore it thinks it's important. Hopefully this is making sense. So we want to focus on what we want, and then we want to become obsessed with it so that the brain starts to let this information into your awareness. What I want you to know in the realm of business, your dream clients are out there in truckloads. There are so many people out there seeking the services and the products that you sell. They have a lot of money to spend with you, and they want to spend it with you. And they will start to show up in your reality the moment you show your brain having that is important to you, and therefore that information can come through. There is also a lot of money in this world, a lot of money to be made, a lot of money to receive. There is a lot of money, an abundant, an unlimited amount of money, because money is energy. However, if you were raised in a family where money made people greedy, money made people bad, money made people lonely, money made people overwhelming, money made people stressed, money is deemed a threat to your brain. And given its primal role is to keep you safe from threats, it's keeping you away from money and it's deleting income opportunities from your physical reality. It's not actually true that there is not a lot of money to go around. It's not actually true we are living in a financial crisis. If you're seeing that information, it's because of confirmation bias, because your brain is letting that information in, but it's not actually true. So if we provide another focus point to the brain, it will start to let in other information. Suddenly, you notice less limiting conversations. Suddenly, less clients are saying they can't afford your services. Suddenly, there's less lack in this world. Just like the car was always there, the opportunities, the money, the dream clients were always there, but now your brain is letting them in. So, your brain is your best business strategy. Now, bringing the subconscious mind into all of this. So, we focus on something, it shows the brain it's important. The brain then embeds that information into your subconscious mind. Now you have the subconscious program to create the thing that you want. Your subconscious mind influences 95% of your thoughts and your emotions. Those thoughts and emotions create that energetic field that's surrounding your body, the measurable energetic field. If we actually got some scientific scanners out, we could measure that field. It's measurable. The thoughts and feelings coming from that subconscious program are creating that. Now, that energetic field is then sending out a broadcast. And just like a radio station, that broadcast is going to tune you into a particular station. That station is either going to be the business and the life and the success that you want, or the life you currently have. And if you've been stuck in the same patterns, if you're seeing the same results manifest, even though they aren't the ones you want, it's because your broadcast is tuned into that. It's because your thoughts and feelings are based on lack, on frustration, confusion. There's not enough. There's never enough. I'm not doing enough. And therefore you create the lack. However, if you upgrade that subconscious program, by default, you'll upgrade the 95% of thoughts and feelings that it influences, which by default will upgrade your broadcast, which by default will tune you into a different reality in your business. And that's the radio station where you are making the kind of money you want to make. You're working with the kind of clients you want to work with. You have the success and the life and the abundance that you desire. So energetically, you are manipulating everything around you right now. Now, often I hear people say, I am not very good at manifesting. I wish I knew how to manifest. The thing is, you are manifesting every single second of your day, but that manifestation process is untamed and uninformed. Now, this is where I come into play and I help you become a master manifester. It's not that suddenly you learn how to manifest and suddenly you are manifesting, but now you can actually control the manifestations that are unfolding in your reality. Now you aren't manifesting what you don't want, you're manifesting what you want. Now, what I mean when I say you're manifesting what you don't want, it's those DMs from clients saying they can't afford your product or your service, the DMs from clients saying now's not the right time. It's the unexpected bill that came in immediately after you just had your biggest month in business. It's the refunds. It's the cancelled meetings. It's the cancelled inquiries. It's the constant red lights on your way to the coffee shop. It's the external that you're seeing in your life right now. You manifested that. You put it there because you thought and felt in accordance with it. There's always a corresponding energetic pattern in you for every outcome that you're seeing in the external. Cause and effect. So we've covered off the brain. You must focus on what you don't want, which provides salience to the brain and says this is important. And by thinking about it and visualizing it, it becomes familiar with it. And again, now it's important. Now it's going to work in your favor to create it. It embeds that into the subconscious program, which is your computer system, which is influencing the thoughts and the emotions, which influences your energetic broadcast, which is what's creating matter. The clients, the income, the success, the external results that you can physically touch and experience. Now, the other thing I want to talk to is a term in quantum physics. I talk about this a lot across my episodes within the different topics that we have, but Within the realm of quantum physics, there is a concept called the observer effect. And what this says is we have the ability to collapse the energetic wave of possibility into a probable outcome. Now, there is an experiment that's taken place. Go on YouTube it if you are a visual person. But essentially, when someone observed a particle, it shifted how the particle behaved. So what this tells us is surrounding you right now are infinite energetic possibilities that could exist. But what will actually be created in the physical form depends on what you are observing or focusing on. So this kind of goes in alignment with what we were saying before. If you're focusing on what's not working, if you're focusing on the lack of clients, if you're focusing on the negatives in your bank account, you're observing that. Therefore, you'll keep creating more of it. But if you focus on already having the type of clients you want to work with, you focus on seeing that particular number in your bank account, you focus on the house and the car and the beautiful life you're going to live, you're going to observe that and therefore create that from the energetic potentials that are available. And I'm a visual person, and the way that I imagine this is every goal that I have is like this income potential that's like buzzing around me currently. And I get to just select it. You know the movie Click, when he's in that room and he has all these different scenes, and using the remote he can click on the scene and jump into the scene. That's how I imagine the energetic creation of matter using the observer effect. There are all these doors that you get to, or all these goals and potentials and realities that you get to click on, but you have to click on them, and then you have to expect them to zoom up so that you can watch it on the screen, just like he does in that movie. So every time you have a goal, I don't want you to look at the goal as something you have to move through space and time to achieve. I want you to imagine it as like this energetic potential that's just available and buzzing right next to you, but you've got to focus on it, and then you've got to think and feel like it's already yours. That's going to create this broadcast, this connection between you and this energetic potential in the quantum field. And once the connection has been established, you can now draw it in like a magnetic pull, like lead to a magnet. That's the ability you have here with those potentials floating around in the quantum field. So you really do have all of the control in your business. All of the control in your life is yours, but you've just got to know how to actually create in a tamed and a knowledgeable way, which is the whole point of this episode. So we've spoken about your brain, we've spoken about the subconscious program, we've spoken about energy, we've spoken about the concept of quantum physics. Your job now, ultimately, is to be a walking version of the version of you who already has what you want. One of my clients in her empire today sent me a post that essentially was just saying, when you want something, you repel it. And she asked if I agreed with that. And I said, I absolutely do agree with that. She asked for more information about how this could be. And how do we desire something without desiring it? Or how do we create something without not wanting it? And how I explained it to her was this: when you want something, it means you don't have it. And if you don't have something, it means you're in lack, which means energetically that broadcast is lack. So while you do want it, because your energy is not having it, you're sending out a lack broadcast, and therefore you won't create it. So the trick here, and this is the hardest part to manifestation, it's thinking and feeling like you already have it. Stop desiring it, stop wanting it, and instead experience it, have it, be it. And yeah, it's hard. It is actually really hard to become someone who has something when you don't, especially when we are brought up in a world and a society where we are so fixated on the external, the data that's directly in front of us, the things that we can tangibly touch and see and experience, and we let this become limits to our possibilities. So yeah, it's really difficult to jump into the identity of someone that can see beyond that and feel beyond that. But that's the key to quantum jumping. That's the key to getting everything that you want in your lifetime. It's infusing yourself with this different energy of having and not wanting. And if you actually look at the vibrational chart, the emotion of desire is very, very low. Because again, desiring something means you don't have it, you're without it. And lack is a very low vibrational frequency. The highest vibrational frequency on that chart is joy and love and passion. So if you can start to evoke emotions of joy, love, and passion, it means that you've shifted yourself energetically, and then circumstances, outcomes that are on the frequency of joy, love, and passion, like money and clients and success, can start to drop in because you've now created that energetic connection to them. So it's an art form. And of course, it's what you will master if you jump inside anything within my world. The energetic manipulation, the subconscious mastery, so that energetically, neurologically, you are like someone who already has what you want. You have tuned into the radio station of having it, and then things just get to show up. Things get to show up like magic, but it's not magic, it is science. So I hope you've enjoyed this little refresher. It will go hand in hand with the post that is going on Instagram tomorrow, saying, as I've mentioned, you are creating every problem in your business, and that is the best news ever. Because if you're causing everything, it means you can also solve everything. If you are the cause, you are also the solution. But again, you've just got to know how to use your brain and your subconscious and your energetic broadcast to your advantage, as opposed to in a way where you just keep ending up in these negative patterns and keep seeing the lack unfold in your reality. And just to finish off, one of my favorite quotes is by, actually, I'm going to share two quotes. One is by Bruce Lipton, and he says, the easiest way to understand what that subconscious program is that we need to master is by taking a look around at your life. And when you look around at your life right now, are you fully happy? Do you have everything that you desire? And if you don't, it's not because of the algorithm. It's not because of the economic crisis. It's not because it's just a bad time of year. It's not because your industry is saturated. It's not because of any of that. It's because you have the subconscious program that has created and put it there. And my other quote that I love is, if you want to understand, or I'm going to butcher this, if you want to understand the laws of the universe, think in terms of energy. I think it's something like that. But that's another quote I love, because everything is energy. Everything truly is energy. Absolutely everything is energy. You can touch it because of the way that it's made up, but it is energy. And it means you don't have to wait a certain amount of time or move through space to create something. You need to tune into the radio station of it already existing. I think we'll leave it there. I didn't want this to go on for too long. I just wanted to rehash on some of the concepts that do support all that I say and all that I share about over on social media. And yeah, it's just a nice reminder that you have all the control over every circumstance unfolding in your business. And sometimes that's not a nice thing for people to hear, especially if what they're seeing in their business at the moment isn't ideal. It's slow income months, it's client objections, it's unexpected bills, it's negative experiences, but you did create it because your brain and your subconscious and your energetic broadcast turned that energetic potential into a physical, tangible thing that you are now having to deal with. But you get to also create different outcomes. And just as much as the negative outcomes are available, the best case scenario is also available, where your business grows month on month. You attract these incredible high paying clients out of, in quotes, nowhere. Your DMs are full of them. Your clients, your programs are filling up with them. You're getting phone calls wanting them to be in your world. Like, these things are happening, and you live a life that is way beyond average because you're not thinking like an average person, because you actually understand these concepts. I would love to know what you think about this episode over on Instagram, or leave us a review or comment in wherever you're listening to this. And yeah, just kind of bookmark this one to always come back to. If you're ever feeling frustrated, if you ever feel out of control about the circumstances in your business, just remember it's not something you have to put up with. It's not something you have to go through time until it expires. You get to shift it, and you get to shift it very, very quickly in your reality the moment you've shifted yourself and the moment you've become someone who could have the results. Okay, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys in the next one.